Men's Roller Derby Association Tournament. I am Helen Carnate. I'm here with...
your good buddy, Oso Blanco Fabuloso.
Happy to be here with you, Oso. Let's kick things off by going through the rosters. Tell us a little bit about Collision.
We've got Collision Men's Derby All-Stars from Raleigh, North Carolina. We're starting with number 1, Mighty Mouth. Number 1111, Rush D. Nails. Number 13, Evil Ed. Number 1358, Brick House. Number 185, Sling and Grits. Number 22, Threat Lee. Number 3, Taste Like Chicken. Number 317, Kid. Number 329, Admiral Pack Bar. Number 4, Blocksmith. Number 42, Waltercation. Number 494, Mista Meowpie. Number 52, Boomerang. Number 74, Nathan. Number 84, Sweet Meat. Number 87, Black and Wild. And on the bench, we've got Kelly Joyce and Felicity Cheney.
All right, and since the clock is ticking away here for the jam break, I will catch you up on the Montreal Men's Roller Derby Mont Royals here after the break. We just had our first jam with Viking Size and Sweet Meat, Viking Size with the Mont Royals, and Sweet Meat with Collision. Now, Mont Royals have a very small roster. They're playing with only 9 skaters today.
9 skaters, and as I understand it, they only have 3 in their jammer rotation.
That is correct. Number 87, Black and Wild from the Mont Royals are...
That's a Collision there.
Collision. Sorry, we get our colors mixed up on our roster.
Yeah, every time we change bouts, they change colors.
So we have our first points on the board now from Collision Men's Derby. Collision took a loss to the Philadelphia Hooligans first thing this morning. Montreal Men's Roller Derby, currently ranked number 18 in the MRDA, are represented by number 0, El Tenat, 101, Juppercut, 16, Mardi Gras, 247, Saturday, 300, White Shark, 50, Buddy Ollie, 6502, Grimlock, 71, The Rev, and 7804, Viking Size. We have El Tenat on the line for Montreal and 317 Kid for Collision. And we have our very first power jam of the game as Kid is now headed to the Brews Boutique Power penalty box. It's been a long day of roller derby here already. So Montreal putting 5 on the board, bringing them even with Collision right now. El Tenat scored an absolutely massive number of points versus Casco Bay earlier today. He's now up to 10.
Now get accustomed to that name, El Tenat. You're going to hear that name, El Tenat, Juppercut, and Viking Size. They are the 3 jammers in rotation.
Yeah, Montreal has a very consistent jammer rotation. El Tenat racking up his 5th Grand Slam, now up to 15, jumping out ahead of Collision.
Now it looks like they brought out the proper silks, the celebration silks. El Tenat has a Canadian maple leaf in the star.
I love that. He's now picked up 4 points on that last pass. He's at 19 now for the jam. We have the Montreal pivot, number 50, Buddy Ollie, headed to the Brews Boutique penalty box. He was very penalty heavy in their game against the Hooligans first thing this morning.
What is El Tenat doing out there? He's practically teasing them, begging them to hit him. He's skating backwards around turn 1, turn 2. Now he's trading shoulder blows with number 1, Mighty Mouth.
So Mighty Mouth, you can tell by the lack of out of play call, did have the star in his possession, but he never got it on his head until the very, very end.
Well, that's not going to help him score any points if he doesn't have the star on his head.
No, it's not, but that's all right. So 24 points. We do have a score overlay on our stream here today. 24 points for Montreal, 5 for Collision. Montreal jumping out ahead. Big thanks to Nesset for our Wi-Fi connection here today, supporting this stream. 7804 Viking Size on the Polar Seltzer Jammer line for Montreal. And that is 1111 Rusty Nails for Collision. This is the second game of the day for both of these teams. They have played once before in March of this year. Viking Size picking up lead.
Now, Viking Size, I noticed earlier, had his foot up and his ankle, looked like braced in some way. I wasn't sure if he was going to be back out on the track, and yet here he is, taking him on.
Eltonot proving he's quite the double threat for for Montreal. I'm going to get these colors mixed up all night long. I apologize. He's quite the double threat for Montreal, a very strong blocker as well as a strong jammer. Viking Size racked up over 100 points in the first game of the day, and he is plowing his way through the Collision pack in this jam, but he is going to get recycled by number 185, Slingin' Grits.
Both jammers got recycled there, Rush D Nails and Viking Size.
Teams have got their brace 3 walls set up quite nicely there in 2 little bunches. The Viking Size comes out on top. He picks up 5 points and comes around again for lap 2. Rush D Nails still stuck. He's trying for the inside, trying to twist his way around, but Grimlock 6502 for Montreal has him completely stymied. Viking Size trying for the apex jump, but not successful, as we've seen throughout the course of the game so far today. It is a high-risk, high-reward move. It can pay off big if you can pull it off, or it can result in an occasionally devastating power jam right when you don't need it. So Viking Size does 15 in that jam.
Of all of the things that we have stats on, the percentage of completed apex jumps is not one of them. We should get that.
Yeah, we should. You know, it's probably been pretty even. Some of them haven't been more than hops, but you know, when people try the really spectacular ones, that's when it's like you see it in slow motion and you're kind of holding your breath.
And some of these skaters have amazing strides. So that apex jump is more than just a quick little jump across a rock.
Number 101, Jeppercut with the star for Montreal, and that is 84 Sweetmeat for Collision. Sweetmeat does have a lead, so Collision now in control of scoring, and we see it again with the apex jump. He sticks it. The American judges give it a 10. 5 points for Collision. And there's been a star pass to number 247, Saturday. He is he really poured on the speed there to get out the front of the pack. Very successful, but Sweetmeat is all over that and calls it off. He picks up 4 points for Collision. Montreal held scoreless.
One of our sponsors here.
So looking at top scorers right now, Eltonot on top, 24 points for Montreal, 15 points for Viking Size. We're seeing the same trends setting up. Eltonot back out on the track now, number 87 Black and Wild for Collision. Tries to hop, skip, and jump along the inside line, but not quite able to do so before he's pushed out. Penalty box is now empty. We are good to go. Full strength back on the track as Collision has picked up lead.
That's 87 Black and Wild. Black and Wild and Sweetmeat will be in rotation quite a bit for Collision.
Eltonot pulling a star stash there to get himself out of the pack. Tough. He's one of the taller players on Montreal's team, and we now have number 87 Black and Wild headed to the Brews Boutique penalty box for one of our first power jam of the game. So Eltonot picking up 5 points on that pass now, all by his onesies in scoring position on the track.
Jeez. Ha.
Montreal, the few but the mighty, setting up bookends there, and Eltonot's able to sneak right through, just plowing his way through the collision wall. 5 points, bringing him up to 10 now for the jam.
He was literally jumping through the pack there to get through.
And Montreal, the blockers are just content to hang back, let him push the collision wall forward and break the pack, test the engagement zone. Another 5 points for Eltonot. He is up to 39 now, total 15 for this jam. We have number 6502 Grimlock headed to the Brews Boutique penalty box for Montreal. Black and Wild back on the track and able to hop through on the inside. El Tenant cruising around. He's only got 4 on this pass. Now up to 19. El Tenant and Viking size, but boy, Black and Wild showing his agility. I swear, sometimes I feel like I'm watching figure skating with the agility of some of these skaters. Just so graceful, hopping the apex and sticking the landing like it's no big deal.
Some of the moves that you're seeing out there, where you've got almost a cantilever, made famous by Frickin' Frack in Germany back in the 30s, but that's another story completely. Used quite a bit in roller derby to get around the turns. It makes a very small profile for you, and you can slide right through.
So we have Viking size and his fabulous braids jamming for Montreal, and that is number 317 Kid for Collision. I think I've got my colors and my team straight now in my head for this game.
For this game.
Viking size getting recycled almost back to turn 1. Sweetmeat playing double threat out as a blocker right now. Kid trying to find the inside line on the far side. Very difficult to see on the stream because we've got things oriented long way. But he is Viking size pushed to the inside by Sweetmeat. That is a good save, and Sweetmeat hops the apex in reverse to draw Viking size all the way back to turn 1. Kid is still absolutely fighting his way through. Viking size, after almost a minute, Viking size is declared. Lead jammer, we've got an out of play call on Kid. So there was a star pass now to Sweetmeat. Sweetmeat sticking the landing. Nope. Sweetmeat taking an insubordination call. He is going to sit in the Brews Boutique penalty box along with Kid. So we are now on a power jam for Montreal. Viking size in a dangerous position for Collision, able to really rack up the points now with both their pivot and their jammer in the box. So Kid, that was an illegal star pass. Kid didn't hear the penalty call, so he gets the insubordination for just completely blowing off the officials.
Oh, that's what happened.
So he is back out on the track now as a jammer.
Yeah. Derby happens so fast, even when you're up here live and in person, it's sometimes very difficult to see what exactly happened.
Collision picking up 4 additional points at the end of that jam. So Collision now sitting on 71, 18 for, Montreal sitting on 71, Collision on 18, Montreal in the black, Collision in the red. That is the reverse of colors that Collision played and Montreal played this morning. So there's never enough coffee to make this right.
I guess what she's saying is that's our excuse.
No, there is no excuse. No excuse. No excuse. Twitter will tell us there's no excuse.
Twitter will tell us there is
and
no excuse.
And in fact, if you'd like to chit-chat with us on Twitter, we don't have a producer over here today, so we are on a timeout now. This is a Collision team timeout, their first of 3. Montreal has all 3 of their timeouts. If you would like to chat with us on Twitter, we are paying attention to the BOBH 2016 hashtag in between getting heckled by Bob H for President 2016. He has lots of questions about men's derby.
Well, good. It is a very important issue that I think all the candidates should really take advantage of.
It is, as a matter of fact.
I mean, it is a large community, so that is a lot of votes. It's good to come out and talk to us.
So while we're on this timeout, let's take a quick look at the sanction records of these 2 teams. Both have played quite a bit. In the last 12 months, Collision has played 9 games, but only 4 of those have been sanctioned. Their record in MRDA sanctioned play is 2-2. They are not yet ranked with the MRDA. The Mont Royals are 8-3. They've played 11 games, all of which have been sanctioned, and they've played a lot of tough teams. So they've played against the Philly Hooligans and beat them back in March of 2016 at the same invitational tournament that Collision and the Mont Royals played last time. So we are ready to line up and do it all over again. That is number 101 Juppercut on the Polar Seltzer Jammer line for Montreal, and 11-11 Rusty Nails for Collision. Rusty Nails trying to the outside. He spins. He's gonna get it. He has lead for Collision, but hot on his heels is Juppercut, and Juppercut is a heck of a jammer, as we saw from the game against the Hooligans this morning.
A little bit of information.
Casco Bay.
Sorry, a little bit of information about that penalty earlier with the Star Pass. So they did an official review, looked at what they wanted to make sure that not an official review, official timeout. They wanted to make sure that was handled properly. So the mishandled Star Pass was changed to a track cut, but the insubordination call stood.
Okay, thank you for that, Oso Blanco Fabuloso.
I try.
Who, by the way, can we give Oso some love on Twitter? If you're paying attention, this is Oso's very first stream call. It's very exciting.
Yeah, exciting. We'll go with exciting.
It is. You know what? It's a very different thing.
True.
It's very freeing being able to talk about anything you want to on the track versus announcing in-house. But, we hope you're enjoying the stream here. Thanks to Nesset for providing our Wi-Fi here this weekend at the Battle of Bunker Hill.
Yeah, if it was not for Nesset, we've got full bars everywhere. The internet is running very smoothly. We could not have asked for something better.
So, Since this morning, power jams have cleaned up substantially. We've only had 3 power jams so far. Number 87, Black and Wild, jamming for Collision. He is through like a rocket and lead jammer over Eltonon, but Eltonon is only about a third of a lap behind him. Black and Wild flying around the outside. He just squeaks past number 71, the Rev, and he calls it off. 4 points for Collision.
Just a great jump right past the last blocker in the pack. Gets those skates on the ground, calls it off. It was a great job trying to shut out Montreal.
Both Sweetmeat and Black and Wild have such acrobatic athleticism.
Oh, true.
There's so many leaps, and the two of them love that apex. They love it.
Absolutely, and they have a really great stride out there. They move like nobody's business, and they will jump right through a pack given the chance.
So we are now, the official review light is blinking for Montreal. And I do see now our jam timer is making that lovely, lovely official review symbol. So
I thought that was the Illuminati sign. I thought I thought they were calling for the Illuminati to make a determination on the call. No? Okay. Well,
let's take
I've got to read the rules again, apparently.
Quick recap of scoring. So for Montreal, Eltonon has 46 of the 75 points that the Mont Royals have picked up. Viking Size has 25. Juppercut, who was an incredibly powerful jammer for those, 3 times out jamming, no times lead. So that is a huge turn for Juppercut compared to their game this morning.
It looks like no lead and no score.
No lead and no score. That is absolutely correct.
Wow.
He's got a minus 5.33 point differential for jams that he is out there. So no scores. That means that the jammers that are playing against him have picked up an average of 5.33 points per jam when he's been out there. On the Collision side, we've got Black and Wild with 13, Rusty Nails with 2, Sweetmeat with 9, and Kid has been out for 2 jams but hasn't been able to pick up any points yet. He has a minus 17 jammer differential.
Wow.
So Collision needs to think about playing Kid judiciously. He was a great recipient of star passes earlier today.
Oh.
And we are going to find out what the scoop is with the official review. Oso is finding out from our fantastic alt ref, and we will be back. We are back in action, though, with number 4, Blocksmith jamming for Collision. Blocksmith is your lead jammer. Oh, he is not your lead jammer. He has a track cut. You gotta watch those track boundaries. So we are in a Montreal Power Jam, and that Power Jam is gonna go to Viking Size. Viking Size of the fabulous braids. I can't get over the braids. They're so awesome. So Viking Size in second scoring position, but this could be a big opportunity for him to catch up to El Tenat. 5 points on the board now as number 1, Mighty Mouse, also heads to the Brews Boutique penalty box for collision. Viking Size is through for another 5 points. That brings him up to 10. Montreal is leaving the door wide open for him to run into the 2 remaining blockers, and he's able to quickly juke to the inside to get around Slingin' Grits and number 3, Tastes Like Chicken. Blocksmith back out of the box and dealing with a brace 4 from Montreal. He ducks around as 2 Montreal skaters rush up to meet him. He is through, though, not lead jammer. So that was just his initial pass. Viking Size is going around and around and around. That is another 4 for Viking Size. That's going to put him at 19 for this jam. But we are content to keep playing as Blocksmith is going to get recycled back to turn 2. And now we have 247 Saturday taking a seat in the Brews Boutique penalty box for Montreal. So they are down 1. Doesn't seem to bother Viking Size any as he picks up 5. Now 23 for the jam. But Collision picks up 4 of their own. Not letting the jam end unscathed.
So the official review came back. What it was for was a track cut penalty on the jammer for Montreal during during the previous jam. So it was a track cut call as it was calling off the jam. After the official review, it was determined that there was no track cut. They got their review back. They have their official review back.
Good stuff. We are back in action with jumper cut on the line for, actually beyond the line now, for Montreal, and number 84, Sweet Meat for Collision. Sweet Meat picking up lead. But jumper cut is only about a quarter of the lap behind him, so he's going to have to hit it and quit it, get his points, and get the heck out. He's calling it from the ground, just off the side. You can just barely see it on the side of your screen. Totally legal, as most people watching know. We're going to line things up and do it all over again, but before we get a chance to do that, I just want to call out our officials for the game, led by Mistrial. The officials are Empower, Rulin Forcer, Scissors, Push Up Zebra, Whistle Blocky, Wifopathic, Loki, thank you, Molotov Latte, Camel Topher, Queen Lucy the Violent, Sweetie Todd, Mr., Michael Mitten, Danger Prone Daphne, Kinky Linky, Charles Dickens, Butt Force Trauma, U++, and Chemical Restraint. And we now return you to your regularly scheduled program. That is El Tenat. He does have lead. Jamming against number 87, Black and Wild. Black and Wild now headed to the Brews Boutique penalty box for a track cut, putting Montreal on another power jam. This is now power jam number 5 that Montreal has benefited from. And El Tenat is a heck of a jammer to have out on the track in a power jam situation.
Number 5?
Number 5 for Montreal. So,
wow.
Collision have not been the recipients of a power jam yet. So this is El Tenat's out now on 10. He is working on 15 as he tries to squeak past Tastes Like Chicken of equivalent height, because El Tenat is a very tall, very sturdy jammer. And he comes cruising in. He's going to call it off, though, just before Black and Wild was able to get to the back of the pack, and that is going to do it.
This is amazing, absolutely amazing. Montreal has 9 skaters to pull from, and they've got 3 in their jammer rotation. Collision has 16 skaters on the roster today. Almost double.
We heard on Twitter after the first game that Montreal played in that they're actually known for their endurance.
If they weren't before, by the end of this tournament, they will be.
Absolutely. Viking Size out on the track for Montreal, Rushdie Nails for Collision, and Rush is looking for the outside, and he has got it. Lead jammer Collision.
A healthy lead outside of the pack, too. Viking size is almost a full half the track behind him.
And Rushdie Nails, he wanted the outside. He got pushed out of bounds and almost took out his own bench and thought it might be safer to call it off at that point rather than risk trying to get back in and losing position to Viking size.
Well, they don't call it the crash zone for nothing.
Remember, Collision is in the black, Montreal is in the red. We have 9 minutes and 54 seconds left in this half. 118 points for Montreal, 31 for Collision. Eltonant still holding lead scoring position. He's got 61 points for Montreal, but Viking size is hot on his heels with 53. Jumpercut now trying for jam number 5 here. Seeing if he can put some points on the board for Montreal this time. And the Collision jammer, Black and Wild, was out. But he lost his footing. Jumpercut picking up lead for Montreal. Black and Wild again losing his footing, trying to continue that athletic, leaping, aerobatic skating style, but it just wasn't working out for him this time. He got out of the pack, and Jumpercut gets on the board. He gets his 4 points, and that may actually be 4 points. The thumb is tucked on that jam rack. Tucked the thumb. 4 points for Jumpercut, so he is on the board now for Montreal.
So it looks like Collision has 5 jammers in the jammer rotation. Blocksmith and Kidd are the only 2 that have not actually scored yet.
Eltonant with the star for Montreal. He twists his way around a 2-wall at the front, but picks up a track cut. Jam ref Rule Enforcer says, to the Brews Boutique penalty box you go. That makes Sweet Meat number 84 for Collision. This is their first Power Jam opportunity.
I'm sure they're going to do everything they can to make the best of it.
Sweet Meat sitting on 9 points so far for Collision, hoping to add to that. But boy, the Montreal defense is making that difficult for him. He gets first down, almost takes out a wife Lopathic.
And the cooler, and a chair.
Jammer is back out of the box. We are back to full strength. Penalty box is empty. We're going to get a recap of penalties for you at the half. Sweet Meat calling it off. Did he do it in time? Did he do it? He did. He picks up 3 points for Collision. Montreal held scoreless. Every little bit helps. Chip away, 122-35. Fairly sizable lead. That's a 94-point lead for Montreal. Not unexpected, given their point total from March, where Montreal took the win, 296-95. That's a 200-point differential. So coming into the half, close. We're about halfway there. The question will be, how will these teams adjust at halftime?
Wow, a big recycle.
Big recycle, but you know what? We saw this with the Shock Exchange game. Were we going to have a jam where nothing happened? That had to have been fun on this stream.
That was
Viking
weird.
Side says, I ain't playing this, and he uses his speed to just hop in behind Black and Wild, preventing a do-nothing jam.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to eat the baby there, do a soul crush, eat the baby, but I think he got sick and tired of it after getting about halfway around the track.
We still do not have a lead jammer. It took 45 seconds for Viking Size to work his way through the Collision defense. So Collision is not taking this sitting down by any stretch of the imagination. Number 4, Blocksmith headed to the Brews Boutique penalty box. Viking Size now adding 5 points to his and Montreal's total. As we have Montreal player Buddy Ollie again back to the penalty box. We're going to have to watch him for penalties as he got dangerously close to fouling out in his first game. 2 points picked up in the second pass for Montreal. So that's going to put them at 130, 235 for Collision. 5 minutes and 30 seconds left to play.
So Viking Size got kicked into the inside of the track, got recycled all the way halfway around the track, and then it was a race back to the pack, and still took lead jammer. That was amazing.
Yeah, Viking Size just showed this morning. I mean, this being game number 2, is he's definitely one to watch this weekend. Montreal jumper cut has lead. Rusty Nails forced to the outside, and that is a big fat recycle by number 71, the Rev, on Rusty Nails.
The Rev easy to spot with that beard, wearing the blue across the eyes.
Jumper cut finds the inside. He picks up 5. Now a full lap ahead of Rusty Nails, but he says, you know what? Nope, we're out. I'm not going to prolong this. Let's call it off and do it all over again.
And that's something that we've seen over and over again in this tournament is one jammer will be stuck in the pack. That jammer will be absolutely stuck. And that other jammer, for some reason, finds the secret passage, gets through the dungeon, past the kobolds, parries the orcs, gets through, comes back around, re-enters the pack, and then gets through the pack again before the other jammer can even leave the pack.
Number 84, Sweet Meat, with the star for Collision, Eltonant for Montreal. And it is going to be Sweet Meat. That happened so fast. That happened so fast.
Got lead, called it off.
Got lead, called it off. The bench wants 1 point. The Collision bench is signaling we want the. Nope. They're signaling. Crowd pretty subdued here right now. You know what? It's been a long day. Most of the people here right now are skaters. We're going to start to see the stands fill up quite a bit for the Maelstrom versus Shock Exchange game coming up. Eltonant with the star again. I think we just did a do-over jam there.
I think you're right.
We kept the same jammers out there. We're going again. Sweet Meat struggling with a 3-wall. Eltonant just sneaking out ahead, but boy, they are neck and neck. Sweet Meat and Eltonant look at each other like, hey, shall we dance?
Oh boy. Sweet
Is this like Blades of Glory?
Sweet Meat skating backwards. Eltonant.
They're
blowing kisses.
This is fantastic.
I think we've turned it into skate dancing now.
This is skate dancing. We're going full-on artistic. The pack is doing their own thing.
Oh.
It's a beautiful choreographed thing, Ken. And you know what? Sweet Meat came out on top. Eltonant called it off. Sweet Meat sneaks through, and he picks up the 1 point. That's was
it.
Awesome.
And that's all they need to do is keep doing that. Sure, you're going to have to do it 100 times right now. Don't get me wrong. But you have to keep the other team from scoring. You have to stop Montreal from scoring. You have to get out in front, get a couple of points, shut them down, and just make and get those jammers to go through that rotation over and over and over again.
Yeah, Montreal is proving to be quite the machine with their 9-person roster. Viking Size back at it for Montreal. Black and Wild with lead for Collision. Collision has been able to pick up lead 32% of the time, which is better than we've seen teams fare today. He's got 4 points, and he is playing it safe and calling it off. Viking Size held scoreless. We have not seen that happen very much in this game or in Montreal's first game today, where Viking Size has been stymied. So kudos to Collision for doing the deed.
Absolutely.
And I know we've got Collision fans at home listening into the stream, all the way down in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hello, Collision fans. We hope you are enjoying the stream.
It is truly amazing. This strategy of just getting out in front, grabbing a couple of points, shutting it down. Does it make for the most exciting derby? Ish.
It's quick.
It's quick and it's over with. But it can really run a team ragged like Montreal, who has a very small roster.
Eltonant actually looked like he was pushed through to the front of the pack by Collision players. Sometimes that happens in these scrums. Sweet Meat is out, but he is about 2/3 of a lap behind Eltonant. Eltonant hits it and quits it, gets his 4 points, and he calls it off. Gives us an opportunity to thank some of our sponsors here, Brews Boutique. We have them here in our venue today. They're selling all sorts of fabulous things.
Now, And if you don't know, Brews Boutique is located in Nashua, New Hampshire. It's your one-stop shop for all your roller skating needs. So if you're looking for those great socks that people are wearing or some excellent leggings, they've got them. But if you need skates, protective equipment, mouth guards, wheels, and anything else you need to be safe out on the rail trail or on the derby track, just check out brewsboutique.com and get your skate on.
Awesome. Thank you, Oso. Jeppercut's back at it. This is jam number 7 for him for Montreal. Rusty Nails on jam number 5 for Collision. Jeppercut's now got 12 points under his belt. Rusty Nails with 5. Jeppercut is out first, but he is not lead jammer thanks to a no pass, no penalty. So he is in scoring position. He just took out number 74,
That was
Nathan. So we had to watch Buddy Ollie from Montreal pretty closely last time. Kid now serving the rest of his third. Viking size jamming for Montreal. He has lead, but hot on his heels is number 87, Black and Wild, only about 10 feet behind him. Viking size maybe got 2. He got 2 according to the officials. So, boy, Black and Wild was hot on his heels.
Well, I'm hoping that Collision keeps up with what they started doing at the end of the last half. That's going to be the way that they're going to shut them down. They have to play a short game on every jam. They try to play the long game. That gives Viking size and Jeppercut and El Tenant time to lap them over and over again.
So Jeppercut back at it for Montreal. He was trying to find the inside line, but Collision had him stuffed. And stuffed again, Sweet Meat now with enough time to get out lead. But Jeppercut's only about 20 feet behind him. The pack has just really turned up the gas here as Sweet Meat was going for the inside, and wow, he just jumps his way through Montreal. So I think we're going to see some interesting stuff from Collision in this second half.
I agree. I couldn't tell who was trying to keep that pack fast, because a fast pack is a loose pack. That gives the jammers more opportunity to weave in and out of those blockers. When that pack slows down, then they form up the walls, and it's just a monster to get through.
Right, and Sweet Meat absolutely has the speed to keep up with that.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely has the speed to keep up with that. So we are going to line things up on the Polar Seltzer Jammer line. That is Rusty Nails for Collision and El Tenant for Montreal. El Tenant continuing his onslaught, picking up lead for Montreal. He's got 65 points to his name. Now Montreal losing number 6502 Grimlock to the Brews Boutique box. So Collision at full strength. Montreal down by 1.
And Montreal even down by 1, putting up a fight.
Elton on his 3. He's going to get 5 on that first scoring pass. Boy, as Rusty Nails, he finally makes it through, but Montreal made him work for it. We've got elbows everywhere. Not intentional elbows, but there were just, there were limbs everywhere. We have a Montreal skater who is walking tenderly. That is number 16, Mardi Gras. So
that's not good.
The jam was not called for him, so he is absolutely legal to go back in whenever he feels up to it. But we'll have to keep an eye on Mardi Gras to see how he does. On the Polar Seltzer Jammer line, we've got Viking size number 7804 from Montreal. Viking size with 60 of his own points. He is up against number 87 Black and Wild for Collision. Again, I love watching what Collision has been doing with their jammers, but unfortunately Black and Wild he gets a little too hoppy and jumpy there and gets a track cut. So Montreal now on a power jam. They've lost, Collision has lost 42 altercation to the penalty box. So Viking size though, even so, they ate up 30 seconds of time on the clock before Viking size was able to pick up.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Viking size made it through the pack once again. 4 points in the air.
Montreal has been very consistent with their setup in Power Jam scenarios. They go 2 to each side, and they let their jammer scream right up the front. Right up the middle, Back at full strength, Waltercation and Black and Wild back out on the track. Black and Wild clear on his initial, not lead. Viking size, paying attention to what's going on, and there's some sort of kerfluffle over in between the jammer and pivot lines, out of bounds. And Viking size was like, I think we just need to stop this and reset, recenter, refocus.
So,
little zen.
Looking at Sweet Meat and Black and Wild, both very tall, very lanky, and something I've noticed about most of the tall and lanky skaters is they tend to be incredibly agile, incredibly aggressive, and sometimes a bit wild. So they do tend to pick up those penalties a bit more.
Jumpercut takes the inside to pick up lead for Montreal. Sweet Meat, though, still contending with now a 3-wall. Now two left to beat on the far side of the track, and he does. Taking the cookie around the outside. I don't even think that's a thing anymore, taking the cookie. It was 6 years ago. 4 points picked up by Montreal, and Jumpercut's gonna call it off. No points picked up by Collision. So Collision in the black, Montreal in the red here. 24 minutes and 14 seconds remaining. Montreal sitting at 170, Collision at 44. Point differential of about 126. So, there's a lot of space here. But it's going to be very interesting to see how the second period progresses, because as we saw in our last game, the losing team really poured on the juice in the second period and outscored themselves in the first period. Collision picking up lead here now.
Oh, nope. Got that track cut penalty.
And Rusty Nails had so much speed coming around turn 4 once he realized that he had the track cut penalty that he blew right past the point of no return. So that ate up valuable time when he can't be scoring points.
Again, letting Montreal have an inch is way too much.
Eltonot was able to pick up lead that we thought Rusty Nails had it. Not so much. He had the track cut. Eltonot is lead and in control of scoring. The pack is really all over the place right now. There's not a lot of cohesion.
Yeah, Collision really needs to get more cohesive. They're going to stop him, because they are scattered all over the track right now.
Tastes Like Chicken was the one to beat. Again, it's similar in size to Eltonot. Eltonot just able to twist himself right around. Rusty Nails now out of the box, through on his initial. And Eltonot, so casually with Threat Lee in tow, calling it off. For Montreal.
Only 4 points picked up by Collision that time.
By Montreal.
I'm sorry. Collision actually picked up 4 points on that. Yeah. So, but they did not stop Montreal. They need to get out in front. They need to shut them down as quick as possible.
I mean, as far as power jams go, thinking about power jams we've seen here at Battle of Bunker Hill today, Collision, while they didn't completely stop Montreal, their penalty kill was, I would say, effective in context. They held them to substantially fewer points than they could have.
Absolutely.
Viking size with lead, zipping around, but Black and Wild jump in the apex. Did he stick it?
Did he stick it?
Did he stick it? Montreal's going to pick up 3. He did not. He did not stick it.
No.
The Russian judges give it a 3.
He looked confident out there on one skate, both arms out, like,
he thought he nailed it, but the officials have the ultimate word, because it's their vantage point that counts, not our vantage point way down here the other end of the track. But boy, did that look good. Sweet Meat plowing his way through the front of the pack. He's going to pick up lead, but Jumpercut is right behind him, only about 20 feet. So this pack is setting up number 71, the Rev, taking a wrecking ball. Sweet Meat almost takes out an outside pack ref. Very close.
Thank goodness. He's up, no problems.
Woo! So we've got number 317, the kid, back in the box. Now the kid was sitting on 3 penalties at the beginning of the half, so we're going to have to keep our eye on him. This is at least number 4 for him. We have not seen, despite, I think, the first game of the day between Casco Bay, between Montreal and the Hooligans.
Thank you.
So many games. With the 22 power jams was probably the closest we came to having someone foul out.
Sorry, that was Collision versus the Hooligans.
Collision versus
Versus the Hooligans.
You. Black and Wild with the star on the Polar Seltzer Jammer line. He hops over. Lead Jammer Collision.
That's what's needed. That's what's needed.
You know what? The score doesn't show it. El Tenat now taking a star pass. That is a dangerous pivot to give a star pass to.
That's the strategy.
Black and Wild showing them how it's done. 4 points picked up, called off. Montreal held scoreless. Well done, Collision.
All you got to do is keep doing that over and over again. It's not easy against Montreal, but eventually Montreal is going to get tired.
But where I was going, I mean, the score doesn't show it, but really, Black and Wild and Sweetmeat have unbelievably stepped up their game. So they're both, we talked about how even they are, how similar their styles are, how similar their body types are.
Yep.
They're sitting on, the point difference between the two is 1 point. Black and Wild has 21 points. He's picked up lead jammer 45% of the time that he's out on the track. Sweetmeat has 20 of his own points. He's picked up lead jammer 70% of the time.
Wow.
7 out of 10 jams. So we are now on a Montreal timeout. This is their first timeout of the game. So another interesting note in the context of the broader invitational here today, we haven't had any games that have been really all that close so far. And we kind of, looking at the teams that we're playing, looking at the matchups, we kind of had an inkling that might happen because we have such a spread of experience levels.
Yes.
So, the Mont Royals coming in at number 18 in the MRDA. Collision is not yet ranked. They have played 4 sanctioned games so far, so I think they're probably very close to getting ranked. Now, rankings in the MRDA, as we've mentioned before, are not mathematical like they are in the WFTDA. They are voted on by the membership, just like WFTDA rankings used to be in days of yore.
Interesting.
So the membership's going to have to look at the game histories of all these teams. There are fewer MRDA teams than there are WFTDA teams, so it's an easier task.
Fair enough.
Viking Size with a little recycle. He was, Viking Size has lead. Rushdie Nails with a little hop, skip, and a jump off the Polar Seltzer Jammer line. He is through. He's about a lap behind Viking Size, so Viking Size has plenty of room to run, and he is going to get his points and call it off. So exactly the thing that we said Collision needs to do. Yep. Montreal, they've been executing that all day very effectively.
Playing the short game, just get the points. Keep ticking that counter upwards, and you should be just fine. Oh, sounds like an official timeout.
I'd like to give a little shout out to our Twitter troll, Bob H.
Oh, Bob H.
At Bob H for Prez 2016.
Agreed.
He is very upset that we've stolen his hashtag, but it is what it is. We are here. We are talking on hashtag BOBH2016. Hit us up. We're going to be here all weekend long. We'd love to hear from you. So glad you're watching with us this weekend. We have,
totally.
Again, big thanks to Massachusetts Men's Roller Derby for setting up this stream. It's new for everybody. So thank you all at home for your patience when it's gone down. We even tried a little Facebook Live earlier this morning when our stream PC overheated. So that was a fun experience.
So we're trying everything to get you this action.
Everything that we can.
We're just trying to keep Bob H. for president happy.
Bob H. for president. So that is number 1, Jumper Cut with the star for Montreal. And 84, Sweetmeat back at it. Sweetmeat, is shouldering his way through the Montreal line. They've got a brace 3, and it is taking every bit of their strength to stop Sweetmeat. Sweetmeat's now forced out of bounds. He's going to get a little bit of a recycle. That gives Juppercut just enough time to get through on the inside. But, Sweetmeat thought he was lead. He's now about third of a lap behind Juppercut. Juppercut, Collision now taking the front, except for number 1, Mighty Mouse. And we have a big old jammer collision. Juppercut is bounced almost to the boards. Sweetmeat lost his footing on the track. 2 points after all of that. Two points apiece. 2 points apiece for their efforts.
So that's the type of stuff I was talking about earlier with these tall and lanky skaters. Coming around turn number 3, you could see it at home. You saw that spin, that quasi-controlled spin that happened. You see it all the time with these skaters.
Viking size on the inside for Montreal, and that is Black and Wild. Collision going to their go-tos. They are keeping it very, very consistent. Sweetmeat and Black and Wild with 11 jams apiece. But Viking size has lead as Black and Wild push to the inside, almost taking out one of the inside pack refs. We need an official's awareness day. Viking size with 5 points to his name in this jam. And Sweetmeat, is he staying in? I think he is. You know what? From my vantage point, he was safe, but I think it's probably a wise call on his part to step out and recycle himself, even though it meant Viking size has the opportunity for another 5-pointer. He's up to 10. But he is now clear, and Viking size is on the power jam. Or Viking size is going to the Bruce Boutique box. That puts Black and Wild on a power jam.
This is great for them. I know he's hoping against hope that he can make everything he can, squeeze every point out of this power jam.
El Tanat, boy, Montreal,
there he goes.
What an apex jump by Black and Wild. 5 points for Collision. That's an intimidating sight, though, coming up to the back of the pack and seeing El Tanat facing you, saying, come at me, bro.
Oh, geez, and they've been kind of going at each other this entire time.
I loved the jammer dance.
The jammer dance.
That's the jammer dance. I don't even remember which jammers it was, but it was a thing of beauty. And Black and Wild pancakes on turn 1. Viking size is out of the box. He's okay. He's up. It is a track cut, but he is okay physically. He is not injured. So
physically he's fine, but
Black and Wild going to take 2. Viking size getting a 4th, so that is going to give him 19.
Wow.
In this jam. Black and Wild with 10.
Giving Montreal a power start at this point. Ouch. That's going to hurt.
I don't think with 15 minutes left to play, 140-point differential, it's probably not going to make a huge difference in the outcome, the ultimate outcome of the game. But, every point counts. The point differential, while it's not mathematically calculated for rankings points, I'm sure the MRDA memberships considers the point spread. So Collision, it behooves them to try to keep it as close as possible.
Absolutely. And think about everything that they're actually learning on this track today from Montreal. They're going to use this, and they are going to obliterate their local competition.
Juppercut jamming. He gets taken out by Taste Like Chicken, picking up lead after 30 seconds. So Collision, while not able to ultimately stop Montreal, they are slowing Montreal. And that helps.
Absolutely.
So we don't have a good line of sight here right now as we are head on to this camera. Juppercut bounced to the inside by Taste Like Chicken.
Juppercut showing some signs of fatigue.
Little slow to get up. Sometimes when you take one of those big hits, if you get knocked in the sternum, that takes the wind right out of you. If you go down hard, you see little Tweety birds in front of you. So sometimes
concrete.
It just takes a minute. Some of these hits can be very unforgiving. Even if you're fundamentally okay, you can still be rattled.
I don't care how many times I fall down on concrete. It still hurts.
Really.
Every single
again,
time.
It's worth repeating. Montreal has a 9-person roster. This is their second game of the day. So that being said, it's an impressive showing from the Mont Royals. El Tenant with lead versus
87.
number 87, Black and Wild. El Tenant had the power start. Black and Wild was coming out of the box. And that is Sweet Meat. Sweet Meat and Black and Wild are taking turns apex jumping and trying to get past, playing a little defense. El Tenant picks up 4, might be 5. The thumb was not visible from my vantage point. We'll see what comes up on my stats screen. El Tenant now recycled by number 317, that is Kid, but is through again. He twists and turns his way through. We do see the thumb. He does get the 5 points.
Ooh.
But Black and Wild is matching him.
Oh!
He tries to see through. He's able to pick up 2 more. So El Tenant, 88 points now. 88 points for El Tenant. 33 now for Black and Wild. So Black and Wild starting to run away a little bit. Sweet Meat's still at 22. Rusty Nails with 5 for Collision. Jumper Cut on 29. Viking Size still in the lead with 95 points.
95 points.
95 points. We've still got 12 and a half minutes to play. So it's very possible we will see skaters cross the century mark for individual points once again.
I'm sorry, does that say on Viking Size there that 38 of his points were during power jams?
It says 15% of 15 points for Viking Size.
Maelstrom, though, there is no rest.
That may not be correct. 50 points for El Tenant have been scored on power jams. So we are now 8-1. So Montreal's been the benefactor of 8 power jams. Collision has been the benefactor of 1 power jam. So
Jeez.
that's not helping. Not helping. PowerPoint, 65 points have been scored by Montreal on power jams. Just 5 points have been scored by Collision on power jams. So while that's, again, there's no one element that is making the difference in this game. It's a lot of factors combined.
Absolutely, 100%. Both of these teams are playing really hard. And their blockers are doing well. They're doing everything that they can out there. You can't fault either one of these teams for not playing their best. They're doing fantastically well.
Collision putting out number 52 Boomerang to jam for the first time in this game. Montreal sending out their go-to Viking Size in his 13th jam of the game, and Boomerang coming in picks up lead. Sometimes it's nice to have some fresh legs under the star, and he picks up lead for the gentleman in black.
Yeah, and that was that cantilever move I was talking about, and he went right through on the inside of that pack.
Now Boomerang, though, sitting behind a very tough braced form, and he's able to sneak around the outside. He gets his points, 4 whole big points, and calls it off just in time. As Viking Size was out of the pack. He was coming up hot on the back of the pack. Well timed by Collision. The fans love it here. We're starting to get. We've got the hooligans and the hooligan groupies over on the left side of the track. On the right side, we've got some of the Maelstrom groupies. Now Maelstrom up next. Groupies, I don't want people to think that's a pejorative term. That's
no, not at all.
Maelstrom fans who are preparing for the next game against the Shock Exchange.
No, I believe that they're officially called hula groupies, though.
Okay.
Hula groupies.
We will confirm that for you. Number 101, Jumper Cut jamming for Montreal. Rusty Nails, 11-11 for Collision. And there is all sorts of action on the far side of the track that I really need to get more glasses for. Sweet Meat pulling a double. Oh my goodness! Sweet Meat airborne on Jumper Cut.
Really?
But you know what? He's going to take one for his team and head to the Drew's Boutique penalty box for that. Jumper Cut picking up lead. Holy smokes!
That big hit, that big hip check. That's the second time he's used that in the same area.
That's right. He did it on El Tenant in the exact same spot at the very beginning of the game. Now Montreal picking up 3 in that last jam. We're winding down, just about 10 minutes left to play. I have to say, this second period, there's been a lot that's happened. It feels like it's slowed down for me. This second period has felt longer than the first period.
I'm enjoying the fact that it feels like Collision is coming together, and it feels like Montreal is slowing down a little bit. So I think that they're starting to get more evenly matched.
Collision, if they can keep this up, is potentially on track.
That's not going to
potentially on track to better the point differential than the last time they played Montreal back in March. However, number one, that is Mighty Mouse jamming for the first time for Collision, is in the Bruise Boutique penalty box. El Tenant is out there with the star all by himself for Montreal, and we know that is a dangerous place to have him for Collision.
And Sweet Meat pushes him out. Sweet Meat has his number.
Sweet Meat then pushed out in turn by Buddy Ollie with a big old shoulder check.
That was Grits. Slinging Grits there got shoved into Tanat. Tanat then on the inside had to get recycled.
5 points picked up by El Tenant in that jam. We are going to have a power start for Montreal as Mighty Mouse is left stranded in the Bruise Boutique penalty box. He is just off your screen. He is standing, so there's not much time left, but that's all you need.
That wheel in the corner of your screen, there goes
and there
Mighty
you
Mouse.
See him. Viking Size working his way towards the front of the pack. Collision wasn't quite able to stick him. They had one give chase. That looks like Black and Wild. But at risk of getting it out of play, he heads back to the pack. So Viking Size now on his first scoring pass, denied and recycled by number 74, Nathan.
Again, Viking Size gets through the pack before Mighty Mouth has even gotten through the pack. He hasn't even gone through his initial pass.
Yeah, and that's a tough spot to be for Collision. Viking Size now working on pass number 2, and he is going to grab all 5 points there as he passes Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse having a tough time. We now have a star pass with Black and Wild wearing the star. So Mighty Mouse passed to Black and Wild. Black and Wild has been a very effective jammer, but boy, Viking Size is really having his run of the track right now.
There he goes, skipping right through there. Not an apex jump, but definitely a hop right there at the corner between 3 and 4.
So that was now initial pass for Black and Wild. Viking Size was all over it. He's going to call it off.
Absolutely, it made sense. Again, shut them down. Don't let them get any more points.
Shout out to Black and Wild from Bad Bacon AF1 for Black and Wild. All the love for Black and Wild. Hashtag Collision. Hashtag BOBH26. Hashtag Murby. Hashtag Roller Derby. So, hey there, Collision fans. Watching all of the meaty BOBH 2016 action. Oh, from the very temperate United Kingdom. Wow, we have international viewers, Oso. How awesome is that?
Hey, it's about time they finally recognized my genius.
Well, hello, Bacon Bat in the UK. We're glad you joined us. Stay awake, seriously, if you can. Stay awake for the next game. It's going to be a barn burner.
And make a quick round of applause as well for Montreal.
So we have 7 minutes left to play. We don't have visibility on penalties. There is no inside whiteboard here, so we do not have visibility on that. Great for the fans. Selfish me, announcer, wishes we had it, or at least some sort of relay so I could see, because I love me some stats.
I know. You have no idea how much Helen Carnett loves stats.
I do. I love them.
She
They're
lives
amazing.
by the stats.
But you know what? Sometimes there comes a point when the story is bigger than the numbers. And
Fair.
I think, you know what, this is one of those times, because when you look at the numbers for Collision, they're not all that impressive on the whole. Mm-hmm. But the fight that they've been putting up here in the second half really has been impressive against a smaller but more experienced Montreal team.
And we have seen, scores be way, way, way more out of whack. I mean, some of them have been, over 400-point differential. So for them to be able to hold them at, 181 point
Yeah,
differential?
181 point differential, a 65 point differential in power jams in favor of Montreal right now. So, goes without saying, you need to watch your jammer penalties. If your jammer is on the track, you can't score points.
Yep.
You have no chance of scoring points.
No star, no points. Recently,
No flag, no country.
What? Recently, I was
Little
at
Eddie Izzard.
a PVRD game announcing for PVRD, and sure enough, they did a star pass, and they took the pivot took the silk, put it on their head. It flew off. Didn't realize it. Kept going round and round and round. Did not hear everybody yelling, "Hey, you're not wearing the..."
I've seen that happen before too.
Oh.
We are wrapping up a collision timeout. So each team has one timeout remaining. You can see that on your screen. Thanks to the fabulous scoreboard overlay here we have on our stream, which I'm so excited to have. I'm so glad we could bring that to you.
So you're so excited?
I am so excited.
And you just can't
I'm
hide
so
it?
excited.
Oh, I was going to ask you if you were about to lose control and you think you like it.
I do.
Okay.
101 Juppercut jamming. This is his 14th jam of the evening. Blocksmith, number 4, out there for Collision. Blocksmith is through. Lead jammer Collision.
Ooh.
So his second jam, his first lead jammer pickup. And it is now a power jam for Blocksmith.
Oh, power jam for
Number
Collision.
101 Juppercut in the Bruise Boutique penalty box. Collision now in control of scoring. They've now copied the Montreal setup. Number 300 White Shark taking a big hit to the back. No penalty called on that, but you could tell that one hurt when he took a shoulder to his shoulder blades.
Oh.
White Shark whiffing the big hit.
Oh.
Number 4 Blocksmith, 5 points, and he is going to give Juppercut the kiss of death and strand him in the penalty box. No, we see Juppercut now leaving, so he must have served his final seconds just as Blocksmith was able to call it off. So,
Now,
woo!
White Shark tried to pull off something that one of my favorite skaters, Pink Panzer, pulls off, where sure enough she gets you in her sights and boom, like a rocket, just goes in
missile.
and hits you hard, knocks you out. But he just missed, just barely.
El Tenant, the owner of 95 of Montreal's 249 points, jamming for Montreal. Number 52 Boomerang in his second jam of the game so far. 2 to beat. Out of play warning, and El Tenant has it. We do have a Collision skater, that is number 42 Walter Cation, taking a seat in the Bruise Boutique penalty box. El Tenant now with 5 on the board. That is going to put him very, very close to the century mark in personal points.
Oh, I see that star trying to be passed to number 87, Black and Wild. Black and Wild has it.
He is in possession of the star, which makes him legally the jammer. Never became active jammer as the cover never made it on his head, but El Tenant picking up 4 more points. So that brought him to 9 for that jam and over the century mark to 102.
Wow.
We are coming to the end of it. Collision is looking like, not trying to jinx them. We've got 4 minutes and 23 seconds left to play. Point differential now is 180 points.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to the Montreals by 200 points, 201 points to be specific, in March. So if Collision can keep the juice going, they're looking to slightly better their position against Montreal from their performance in March.
And I'm sure that they're hoping that they can keep the status quo on here. Try to keep that differential from climbing.
Viking size with lead for Montreal. There is a jammer helmet cover in the hands of Sweetmeat, who is the pivot for Collision. Sweetmeat with 1 more to beat, and he is going to twist and turn his way around that last Montreal player, and he is out, an active jammer now.
Yeah. Those wild skaters. they're wild. They pick up penalties, but as a blocker, you're not sure which way they're going to twist and turn.
Viking Size held to only 2 points in that jam, thanks to Sweetmeat making it out when he did. So we've seen teams using the star pass quite a lot. I think this has probably been the most that I've seen it in one game here today so far.
Yes. I agree. We've seen a lot of star passes. It used to be something that you didn't see a lot on the track, but it is used a lot now.
Number 3, Tastes Like Chicken jamming for the first time for Collision. So they are mixing things up a little bit. Tastes Like Chicken twisting and turning, and he is going to take a track cut. So, it's one of the things that I've noticed is that when Collision tries a new jammer, they haven't had a lot of luck with that jammer skating clean. We saw it with a couple of their jammers so far in this game. They field a new jammer, that jammer gets a track cut or some other penalty and results in a power jam. So Eltonot with 5 points, he is on the power jam. 75 points now scored on power jams for Montreal to 15 for Collision.
That was a big hit.
Number 50,
out.
Buddy Oli into the boards. The jam has been called for injury. He went right into the plywood boards here on the side.
He landed right on his back, right into the plywood.
He looks like he is up. He's sitting. He's okay. But we are going to have the medics come over and check him out just in case, because that was a hard hit. Whether it was he was actually pushed into the boards or whether he just lost his footing. But it's great to see him up and standing. They're probably going to do a concussion check on him.
Yep.
He can't come back for 3 jams. I don't think we might have 3 jams left in this game.
Well, I'm not going to jinx it this time.
Well, of all the things to jinx, how many jams are left is not high on my list of announcer curses to invoke.
No, it looked like he did take a big hit. I did not see who it was that hit him, but it was definitely a good hit, and it took him down. But he's back up. He's moving.
The audience giving him a round of applause for leaving under his own power, and we like to see the skaters are okay. He's going to go over to our medic table for some TLC.
Boy, I tell you, if I took that hit, you might as well just call the stretcher, call my wife, call my mom. Just roll me out of here. I'll be fine.
Montreal's going to send out Viking Size. As we come to the 2-minute mark in this game, Montreal in the red, sitting on 270 points to 78 for Collision. So that point differential now inching up 192. So they're about on par now with their performance in March.
And Tastes Like Chicken is standing right outside, right at the penalty box.
Yeah, so Viking Size is going to get the power start.
Yep. Absolutely. Great, thank you. Yeah, we just got confirmation from the officials that they did stop to do a concussion check.
Viking Size has lead. Penalty box is clear. Tastes Like Chicken back at it. Tastes Like Chicken, again, I've talked a couple of times about how he's very similar in body type to Eltonot, and we often see them going head to head. And Eltonot is in fact part of the brace 3 that is holding, holding the jammer. Different jammer.
As
the star has now been passed to number 84, Sweetmeat.
Oh,
and Sweetmeat
jammer
takes out. Sweetmeat takes out Viking Size.
Took out Viking Size.
And Viking Size, I think, did a curtsy of some sort.
Viking Size did a curtsy. Sweetmeat bowed to him.
Very difficult to see from this angle. They're down the far end of the track. That's fun. Derby is fun.
A big show of respect there by Sweetmeat. They've been going at each other this entire time. I mean, jammer on jammer action. What can you say? So it was really nice to see that sportsmanship there, and they're all out there having a good time. Thank goodness.
So with a point spread like this, clock management isn't huge. Each team has 1 timeout to burn, should they so choose, as the time is still running. We've got 30 seconds left on the period clock, so this is very likely going to be the final jam of our game.
There she goes, cursing it.
Jumper cut jamming for Montreal, but Collision determined to go out with a bang. Number 317, Kid with the star, picking up lead for Collision.
Slides out, calls
And
it.
I jinxed it.
Now, for those of
The
you...
jam, go ahead, Osa.
I'm sorry, for those of you that don't know, there is a curse, the curse of the announcer, and that is when you call that this is the last jam, it is never the last jam.
I said very likely.
It always happens. You get a timeout, you get another you get another jam out of it. Always happens without fail. We do call it the announcer curse.
So 10 seconds left on the play clock. Collision is going to burn their final timeout. We have a new jammer for the first time. Slingin' Grits, number 185, taking the star. El Tenant is pivot.
And the crowd is going wild.
You know what? The crowd here today is loving the underdogs in
completely.
the Shock Exchange Trauma Authority game. Trauma Authority got 1 point, and the crowd
Erupted.
went nuts. It was awesome.
Absolutely incredible.
Viking Size given the honors for Montreal. They are on the Polar Seltzer jammer line, doing a little last-minute jockeying for position. Slingin' Grits stuck in the middle of the scrum. Viking Size getting tangled up. Slingin' Grits pushed to the inside.
This is Slingin' Grits' first time on the Polar Seltzer jammer line, if I'm not
The
mistaken.
Revs for Montreal headed to the Bruce Boutique penalty box. Viking Size at the back of the pack. Slingin' Grits with 2 to beat. They are just killing it up front.
Slingin' Grits. Oh, wow.
Viking Size able to juke his way around. We've got 2 incredibly tall skaters standing in front of us, blocking half of the track. You can just see it on the corner of your screen.
No worries.
That